Even in the world's worst scenarios, there are opportunities to love. And when you love, you awaken. And when you love, you transcend the fear. And when you love, you become much more akin and aligned with the Almighty and the Eternal. Okay, I got another good question here. What do you tell the Ukrainians, the Russians, the Venezuelans, the Cubans, the Israelis, the people in Gaza, Sudan, Yemen, Iran, Syria, etc., about how to rescue themselves, accept life, evolve into a state of mind that heals them, even temporarily? I tell them that you're love. You're love. Period. If you're not acting like love, you won't know who you are. If you're acting like love in any moment, you're going to be sent wherever it is, whatever chaos is happening and ensuing all over the world. This place is an impossible dream. You can only approach it and be happy if you wake up. And knowing that the divine is going to love you awake, don't be harsh and hard on yourself. When you feel things like sadness when you're looking at the world, then I'd say really follow that up with doing something kind for yourself. Plant a seed of some kind that's beautiful and comforting. And smile at someone somewhere that can smile back. Orient yourself towards peace in a world where there's a lot of chaos. And then also just know that we did come here to awaken. And if it was a perfect paradise, then maybe we'd want to keep continuing to dream this impossible dream and not ever decide to wake up and be our true selves. But I will tell you this, I didn't wake up and say, I want to get out of here. I woke up and said, wow, this is amazing that everyone is such a good actor, that everybody deserves like 10,000 Academy Awards. We're all perfect. If you look at love embodied and see what they're pretending to be, and you're realizing, wow, they could really act. They can act so well that it could be believable to everyone on the planet, except for the ones that remember this is a mad, impossible dream. In A Course in Miracles, it says, in which I said I wanted thus. And so we dream up chaos and problems and pain and fear. Here's the most important thing. The way that the divine cloaked my awakening experience that led to the life revision, in which I saw judgment wasn't real. That was me judging things and judging all the graces away in my life. And I saw pain. I mean, I did see pain. I saw real pain that I had judged as real, just like people in war can see pain. And what I realized is that I was putting myself often in situations that were like cattle prods so that I would awaken. So if you're kind and loving with yourself, you don't find yourself in those dramatic situations unless you know you're being sent. I told a story of recently I went to the screening of the film that was about the Ukraine. I'm forgetting the name of it now, that just won the Academy Award last year. On the panel, there were just like 3 people, and one of them was the editor for the film. It was all about the Ukraine, the war in the Ukraine, the inception of the war in the Ukraine. And we saw several scenes where they were actually bombing a hospital. And there were pregnant women being carried out of the hospital that were about to give birth. And bombs are dropping. Now, I'm not someone that's pouring pink paint on things. I want to tell you that this is reality with a capital R. And I'm watching the film, and I'm watching people come from the sides and picking up the woman and talking kindly to the woman and being in a place where they are being love's presence. in the midst of chaos and war. And at the end of the panel, they said, are there any questions? And I was one of the first people to raise my hand. I asked the question because I knew the answer, but I wanted everyone else to hear the question. I said, who helps you when you're editing for hours? I know what editing's like. You're editing for hours. If you're doing a 2-hour documentary, you're editing for months and months and months on end of film where she's watching war. And she's not in the war to be the person who's picking up the woman on the stretcher and helping her and smiling and giving love. She's watching it. Twice removed. So she doesn't have agency to go in there and help and love and bring sanity and embody the light. And she said, she went, whew. And she said, yes, I did have a counselor that I talked with, because it's bombs dropping and people screaming and stuff as she's editing. She said, my husband was in the other room and he got used to like just having earplugs on and stuff. But I met her then after in the parking lot, walking to our cars. And I said to her, you know, I asked you that question on purpose because I knew the answer. That's really an amazing thing that you did, to be able to hold the space to create a film that highlights something like love, because she did. I don't know that she knew that she was doing that specifically, but she highlighted that even in the world's worst scenarios, there are opportunities to love. And when you love, you awaken. And when you love, you transcend the fear. And when you love, you become much more akin and aligned with the Almighty and the Eternal. And I just have to say one more thing to make this make any sense, that again, having had that life revision and the experience of leaving my body and coming back to my body, I know that death isn't real. You know, that's one of the last obstacles that has to fall before you're not having fear anymore. There is no death. It's literally like walking into the arms of love. There is no death. There is no such thing. We made the idea that this was hard and challenging, but it's even worse to leave it. So then we get stuck here. But the whole truth of this is that behind everything is heaven and only love is real, and only the divine is real. We can't go anywhere but into love's arms. That makes it a lot easier then.